Xenoverse, a series that's been out for a long time. Does it need a revamp for next gen?
Nah, son. I think that joint need a sequel.
And that's what we're here to discuss today. Do we need a Xenoverse 3? Because all this DLC shit is getting out of hand. Today we've got three different major topics: quality of life, customization, and new modes for a possible Xenoverse 3 sequel. First off, we're going to go off with quality of life, and I have quite a few things to say here, I'm not going to lie. First off, for the stages, I actually was going to talk about having a day and night cycle
Ooh,
for
like
each different
as the
stage. Because
match
there's
goes
only
on.
a day and night cycle, not a cycle, a day and night version. I misspoke. I'm sorry. A day and night version for each different stage. There's only one stage I think that has a night version, and I think people have been asking for different things like that because they like the maps they have, but like a little bit more variety. You know, maybe hit R1 and then boom, you got the night version, so it's not like really just taking up a whole slot. Something simple like that.
Oh yeah, that's tough. Especially seeing as other games literally had that. Like BT3 had multiple stages that had like day and night, whether the place was ruined, shit like that.
Right, definitely. And I meant to say a day and night cycle for the hub world, actually. I have seen people online asking for that. Now, you're walking around, I guess for Xenoverse 3, it could be like New Canton City, you know, and you're walking around, then boom, it's nighttime all of a sudden. So something different like that, something to keep it a little bit fresh, make the world feel a little bit more lived in.
Yeah,
As
definitely.
well as definitely uh in the hub world. Now this is a big thing. Big thing. Guilds and having different guild halls, you know, within the hub world. So that sounds kind of crazy, almost MMO like having player housing for guilds, but I think it can be done with how big the hub world is and how many different sections there are. Not just Kanton City. There's other different parts of the map that you can teleport to. So that could be different ways that you have different guild halls being instanced in the hub world.
You
A way to
know
just
that
teleport to your guild hall.
that definitely is very very interesting because if you think about it, there's a lot of like those types of groups inside of Dragon Ball already. Like let's say for instance, you could have your team like Red Ribbon Army themed or Frieza Army themed, Saiyan Man themed, that type shit. That'd be cool, honestly.
Yeah, and yeah, your area, you could be teleporting to like Namek or something like that, and that's where your guild hall is like based at, or teleporting to like the snowy mountains for the Red Ribbon Army, like you said. That actually be dope.
Oh yeah, and that might actually dictate the types of like side content you and your groups can do with like potential raids and things like that. Like imagine they have like a raid for each type of like group you kind of want to go into. I don't know. That sounds
I'm
like a
glad you
lot.
said that because I actually have that on my notes actually. So how that would work, we would have some limited time raids on your guild hall by NPCs. Now that can either go one of two ways, or even both if they actually wanted to go for the gusto. And we're just going, swinging for the fences on this one for sure. But it could just be random, like a limited time event where let's just say it's the Frieza event. In Kansan City, stuff like that will happen where random Frieza soldiers will run up and attack you. Instead, they would run up and attack your guild hall and like maybe damage it, and then you'd have to like raise money through funds in another limited time event like tournaments to gain money and notoriety and ranking up your guild hall. Therefore, upgrading more customization and more defenses for your guild hall for such limited time events where yours would be attacked. Or instead of just to being NPCs, you could actually have it be an option that once your guild gets to a certain point, you can actually have some sort of not necessarily PvP, but a way to send NPCs to other guilds that you want to attack for resources and whatnot.
Oh, that sounds interesting. That reminds me of like, you can pretty much do almost that exact same thing in like Metal Gear Solid 5. And then an idea that came to mind was like on some Dragon's Dogma type time, you could, recruit other people's guild members. Well, they'd obviously be like, NPC controlled and shit like that, but they can help with like experience. They can help, potentially get you skills that you may not have. Anything honestly to help benefit your guild. That's what and then you can use them. You can honestly use them if you want in like character selection when it comes to like doing certain missions and shit like that. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool in my opinion.
That sounds dope for like a guild cooperation thing, like eventual another thing maybe you could level up, whereas your guild could, work with another guild for things like that to work. And that sounds pretty dope. I like an NPC version of my created character working for them and going on maybe even recruiting them for parallel quests or something like that. That would be cool for
Mm,
different people in different guilds that you friend. And you can do the same thing within your own guild. People in your own guild, they become characters you could possibly run parallel quests with and stuff like that as NPCs with you.
right.
I think that would be pretty cool.
It is funny that you brought up the fact of having like those other members help and give you like resources and, and things like that, because I had an idea about how they can develop Countdown City a little bit more. Honestly, and this is going to dive more into like how the story would be portrayed, but it'd be kind of cool if you could kind of build upon what's there for Conton City and the resources and stuff that you get from other players. You're allowed to use that to build your city. You could even take it as too far as to like customize the city yourself on some like settlement building type stuff from like Fallout 4 or anything like that. And for instance, you could say like the people that you're getting resources from come from like a different time where their city is more developed, and they're pretty much what they did in like, for instance, Attack on Titan, how they were getting resources and knowledge from Marley in order to better their island.
That definitely sounds like a definitely interesting addition to the game for sure. Now you said something about story mode. Now we've talked in private about story mode. Now, could you actually give the people your ideas for story mode? What we should incorporate in a possible sequel?
All right, John. Now this is a big hear me out, because this is such a departure from the first two. Honestly, it's a departure from every Dragon Ball game that's come before, and I think that's exactly what we need. The after Xenoverse was the first one. I was like, okay, we're taking a big kind of a big step forward, and then I'd say something like Kakarot was another big step. So if we were to continue in that same realm of established titles already and making sequels rather than new ones, I just think we kind of just got to go balls to wall. So here's like the story I envisioned. You are given a choice to either be a time patroller fixing the timeline or working with villains across the series in order to destroy it. And they could even have like a karma system where past a certain point you can't change which road you're going to go down. And like, for instance, if you go down, and I think what you choose should help dictate the missions you get, even how like the city looks. Because if you're helping to restore,
The ending and all.
come on now, if you're trying to restore Conton City, and it's funny, I actually called it New Conton City as well. If you if you try to restore it, it'll look kind of like how the newer city's looking, like like what is it called, West City? Pretty much how that would look. Looks kind of futuristic, looks clean, or even how closer to how it looks in like Xenoverse 1 or 2. But if you are actively helping to destroy the timeline, it resembles something like Hell, or like how the destroyed city was in the future timeline.
Oh yeah, with Goku Black and stuff. Yeah. Ooh, the hub world looking like that would be crazy.
Yeah, and you even design it to make it look, more demonic and things like that. Add volcanoes, rainy clouds and shit like that. You could have a
Lava
damaged
waterfalls and
moon
shit.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Definitely, definitely. Okay, okay. He cooking with that, and also we got to mention we gotta add co-op to the story
Oh my,
mode.
bro.
Parallel quests are dope and all. A great concept, in theory, but we gotta add that too because there's not enough content really to play with your friends. There's only but so many raids they have,
Especially in the
and it's the same
beginning.
type of stuff. Yeah, and I feel like it's a patrol. There's always multiple time patrols. There doesn't have to just be the one like he's Neo from the Matrix doing the whole campaign by themselves. It should be more than one, and up to four. Heck, even if you only want to give us two, three, just make the story mode co-op. Just make it co-op. I feel like that's integral for the campaign of the next Xenoverse for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Like, just giving more ways to be able to experience it with friends
Right.
is just the way to go. I never understood why we are part of a group that's supposed to be patrolling. I'm the only man out here. Even Future Trunks is out here chilling in the goddamn in Canton City eating pudding and shit, bro. I never understood that.
Also, after beating the story mode, this was a thing that was really ridiculous. Let that progress transfer all across. So when I beat the story mode and now I with my saying I want to make an Namekian, don't make me have to beat the whole story mode to get all the characters, to get all my. Well, I don't think the outfits. I think the outfits stay and stuff like that. But I'm like, well, why do I have to do all the story mode? And then it's not just that. That you don't unlock like the customization to fly around on your little vehicle and stuff like that, or just to fly in general in the hub world until a certain point, and it's like that every time, and it's just like that's ridiculous. So I think once you beat the story mode once, all that is just cool for
Oh
you
yeah,
to
have it like a new
see.
game plus, definitely. Where
Yeah,
where
make it
you make
like that.
yeah, make whatever race you want, and then they'll, for instance, let's say you ended the game and you're creating a new character. Your first character was at like level 85. You'll have all those points dictated to level 85 if you want to use. Kind of like how what do you use like them tiers in Elden Ring? How you can what's it called? Rescale your whole character. Pretty much allow me to do
Yeah.
that in like a new game plus type mode. Because bro, I've had like 5 different characters on that shit, and each time my progression was getting lower and lower. Because I'm like, bro, I don't feel like doing all this. And if
Exactly. If you don't feel like getting to level 99 with 6 characters and having to do the story all over
by
again.
yourself again, like, come on.
Yeah, at least if I could have did it with like multiple people, then it would be more fun to grind. Or like somebody who got the game later on. I'm like, all right, cool. Then I can just grind a new character with them. But you can't. You can't. That's not an option. So that's one of the biggest things why the story mode has to be co-op in Xenoverse 3
Yeah, honestly,
for
and
sure.
and besides the story, I think just giving us so much more stuff to do with like a team of like four of your friends or whatever, it speaks volumes to how much replayability this game will have. Like I got a couple of things they could have did, and this was me just taking stuff from literally every other game that's had like side content, but just had that co-op. Like for instance, this is one from Xenoverse 2 that obviously you can play with somebody, but this is more me of a bring it back type situation. I forgot what the game's called, but it's the little car John you play in the sky and shit.
Oh yeah, Hero Coliseum. Hero
Hero
Coliseum was
Coliseum,
called.
yeah. Now the only thing I'd make
That was
it
fun.
different, but you don't even have to, is honestly I'd have literally like you ever play Super Dragon Ball Heroes?
I haven't played it, but I've seen gameplay.
Make it just like that. Literally have a
Make
card
it
game in
like
there.
that.
Yeah, like that game's
Yeah,
fun as hell. Not even gonna lie to you.
yeah. If they made it like Super Dragon Ball Heroes inside of it, then that would be yeah, for sure. That's like a game inside of a game. People would love that, and I feel like that would be a really fun competitive spot too, as well. For the strategy alone and
Yeah.
the training of your different units and stuff like that. People would definitely get into that. That actually is good because that helps get into like new modes. And I have a few things that I wanted to add. We'll get back to quality of life because there's not a whole lot of modes that I have to say, to be honest. But I wanted a free for all 4 to 8 player tournament of power type game style mode. That's what I want. Everybody for themselves. You got a certain amount of time, and whoever gets the most amount of kills, it is what it is. Whether even if you didn't get all the damage on that dude, you got that last hit. Hey, it is what it is. You got that point. I feel like that's a fun. That'll be a fun mode for people. You can do like I said, up to 4 to 8. And yeah, a cool little new tournament type thing. And another one, well, either a 1v2 or a 1v3 giant versus small characters. So you got one person picking a giant, and out of all the giants they have available, and make like I said, you make them playable, make them play like a raid boss if you got to, and then you go against other people and they see if they can beat you. Make them a little bit more nerf than a raid boss. That takes like 6 people, but yeah, make it something fun like that.
A
And
combat
lastly, since we
orientated.
did,
Oh wait, that's pretty much like a combat orientated like Dragon Ball Breakers, pretty much. I think that'd be cool.
yeah,
I
that's
think
kind
that'd
of
be
what I
cool as
was
hell.
going for. Exactly. You see the vision.
I smell what you're
And we
cooking.
talked
Yeah.
about right. We talked about solo and co-op. Well, not solo, but we talked about co-op. but I want a solo and a co-op survival mode.
Oh yeah,
Leaderboards
took
for
it right off
both.
my list. Yep. Yes, sir.
Leaderboards for both solo and co-op. You know what I'm saying? Have a survivor mode. I think that would be really, really dope. We said that for another video game, but we're gonna leave that to another video for sure. Because there's quite a few Dragon Ball games that need more modes.
Yeah, like because when I thought about the co-op survival mode, I immediately thought to the one. Well, it's not co-op, but the survival mode that's in BT3, and literally you could
Yeah,
honestly, the way that was set up, I would like it to be a lot more like cinematic. But that's literally the thing I was thinking about as I was writing like how the story would go, because it'd be cool like in the beginning where Kansan City is destroyed and you're building new Kansan City. There's no buildings and shit. You're around. You got a lot of tents around. There's a lot of trees and things like that. A lot of forest. So I think you could, and that ties in perfectly with how the world is perceived, the threats you encounter, because we mentioned earlier about the patrolling thing. I think you should just honestly make fuck a hub world, make it open world, and like I guess the hub world, if you will, when you build Kantan City, that's where you can meet other players, exchange things, try to fight them, things like that. Honestly.
okay, okay. I like that. I like that for sure. Definitely, definitely. Did you have any ideas for modes?